This is for recruiters who are looking for work. What are some things that you need to be paying attention to in the job description that can help you get some insight into what it's like to work at the company and work on the TA team? Number one, what applicant tracking system what applicant tracking system are they using? Right? This is one of the first things I pay attention to, because this is the ATS that you're going to have to navigate in, work through. If it is one that is antiquated, cumbersome, inefficient, takes a long time, you're going to have trouble recruiting, finding people for your jobs generally, because what you're having to go through to complete the application, applicants are going to have to go through that. And a lot of them are just going to say, you know what, it took me all of less than a minute to apply to that company over there. I don't want to create an account. I don't want to get started. And I don't want to sit here and spend 15 minutes putting information in that's on my resume that I just uploaded, right? So pay attention to what applicant tracking system they're using, because if it's not an up-to-date one, you're going to have to either navigate through that antiquated ATS, or you're going to have to try to convince them to upgrade and get a new, updated, more efficient applicant tracking system. And sometimes that's not an easy conversation to have, particularly if it's a company that's very traditional, stuck in their ways. So yeah, save yourself that trouble if you can, and pay attention to what applicant tracking system they're using. Next, what are the job requirements? Are the job requirements feasible for your title and level? For example, let's just say this job is for a recruiter position, but they also have stuff in the job description like enter employees' information into the HRIS, submit candidates for background check, conduct new hire orientation, that sort of gray area that where the line is different depending on the company, where recruiting stops and human resources begins. Companies like to sort of muddy that water a little bit and say, oh, we can have them doing this and this and this. So there should be a sort of a clear delineation between the roles of the recruiter and the roles of the HR generalist. There shouldn't be this, oh, the recruiter's doing onboarding and new hire orientation and that type of thing. So just be mindful of that. Now, you may want to do that. That may be fine with you, but just pay attention to that. If that's not something that you want to do, don't assume that every company has the same expectations of every recruiter. And here's one that I just recently started paying a little bit more attention to as I look at job descriptions. There's this sort of trend in recruiter job descriptions that has something to the effect of develop recruiting strategies to ensure, I don't know, like a diverse candidate slate, or develop recruiting strategies to get the most qualified candidates. And it's interesting. And as a recruiter, you do that, right, on sort of a smaller scale. My recruiting strategy to get a software engineer might be different than my recruiting strategy to get a communication specialist, right? So on a smaller scale, I do have a recruiting strategy. But I feel like sort of an overarching recruiting strategy should come down from a talent acquisition manager or a supervisor or someone at that level, that sort of high level, here's our strategy. So again, not a red flag or anything like that. It's just something to note of what exactly is going to be expected of you. And then it also speaks to something that you can ask during the interview. So a follow-up question or a question that you can ask in relation to the develop talent acquisition or develop recruiting strategy is, if I come up with a recruiting strategy, is there will I get support in implementing the strategy? Will I get resources, right? Part of my strategy could be to upgrade our applicant tracking system, right? Right? That's make the process more efficient, right? So if that's going to be a responsibility of mine, do I also get the resource and the backing to be able to implement my strategy, right? That's twofold. So that's something I've been paying a lot more attention to lately as I look at job descriptions. So that's part one. Stay tuned for part two.